Welcome back to another video. What is the prep stack 7 weeks out? Probably thinking like, yo, that's fucking insane. Doing a chest workout here, gonna get warmed up, and then we're gonna get right into it. I told you guys, we're back with the weekly video, so make sure to subscribe, like, comment down below what you wanna see me cover in my videos, and I'll make sure to cover them. Same approach as last time. Every time I'm warming up, I already did 3 sets with one plate. As I get warmed up, I'm gonna increase the weight. I know what I'm gonna be doing because I've done this for a few weeks, so let's say I'm 60% to my working weight, maybe a little under, halfway there. So I'll do a few more sets here. I'm gonna go do some dead hangs. If you have shoulder problems, do some dead hangs. I'm telling you, that is the best way to open up your shoulders, especially if you have impingement and things. Go there, hang for like 20 seconds. It doesn't even have to be that long, 10, 20 seconds. Do that while you're warming up. Your shoulder problems are gonna vanish. The other good thing about dead hangs too, and I can feel it right there, it lengthens your spine and you'll just feel everything like crack and open up. It feels amazing. Whew. I'm gonna do one more warm-up set and then we'll get into it. This one's so awkward to get into. Ooh, okay, that's good. So I'm warm, it's feeling good. Even 3 plates is feeling pretty light. So let's get into the working sets now. All right, so working set number 1 here. I've been starting off with this fly recently. If you don't have this, you could do a pec deck. This is almost like a standing cable fly. The motion, it kind of starts up high and it comes down. So it's nice like lower pec. The stretch, the pump is crazy off this, and then I'll go move into an incline movement. So probably the last like 3 weeks, this is how I've been starting my chest workouts off, and I've been fucking digging it. So I'm gonna stick with it. On this one though, I'm only gonna be doing 2 working sets. I've experimented with 3, but I noticed it really takes a lot of power out of my incline movement after, and for me, building my upper pec is just more important than my mid and lower pec. So this is really just get some blood into the muscle, get my shoulders, everything warmed up, nice and loose, and then I'm gonna be moving into my incline press. I just don't wanna kill, like, you know, that was a hard set, don't get me wrong. But if I give this 3 sets, I'm like 40% weaker over there. So I'm only doing 2 working sets here. On this one, all I'm focused on, obviously my arms are out here, I have a slight bend in my elbow, and then bringing my hands together as close as possible. On those last few reps, it was just a little too heavy, so I couldn't. But you wanna keep your arms, like don't crab claw and go like this. Keep your arms, you know, not completely straight, a little bend, and bring your hands together, bringing your bicep across your pec, and that's how you're gonna get a big contraction on this movement. And that's kind of the idea for almost any chest movement, is always your bicep, even if you're pressing, your bicep coming across your chest. And that's what's gonna flex the muscle and get a big contraction. So get a big stretch here, bringing your arms in, you know, basically till your hands touch. But again, not like this. Almost your arms are straight here, and that's how you're gonna really get a huge contraction on your pec. So let's move on to this. I hope they still have it there. I think they do, the Pinata incline press. So this is gonna be the main incline movement. This Pinata press, been doing it for like the last, same thing, three-ish weeks since I switched up my routine. This one, it almost feels like it's actually isolating your upper pec. I know you can't isolate your upper pec, but that's what this one feels like. So I've been fucking loving this one. If you don't have this movement, I would do an incline barbell, incline dumbbell, just any type of incline movement. Or if you have a good incline press machine, do another incline press machine, because I know this machine is not at very many gyms. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. So again, this one, try getting as deep of a stretch as you can. And again, elbows, my elbows are almost lined up in the same direction as this handle. And I'm going across and I can just feel everything contracting up here. Just train fucking hard and you're gonna grow. Even if your form's not perfect, if you're training hard, you're gonna make some gains. So many people are so focused on having perfect form, which is important, but they still train like pussies, so they're not gonna make gains anyway. Even if your form is shit, if you're training hard, you'll make more gains than the guy whose form is perfect, but trains like a pussy. What you wanna do, train hard and get your form perfect as soon as possible, because that's how you're gonna maximize everything. Oh. Oh. Woo. A little bit of test, a little bit of trend, some bar, a juicy fucking pump. That's the key to happiness in this life. So this is what everybody wants to know. What is the prep stack 7 weeks out? So right now, I'm on a half ml a test, half ml a trend A, half ml of mass, some VAR, like 50 milligrams of VAR, I think 40 milligrams of Winstrol, and some fat burners. So it's actually under a gram. I think it's like 800-900 milligrams per week that I'm on right now. So it's actually not too bad. And I know some of you guys are probably thinking like, holy shit, that's so much. On gear for 3 years, a little over 3 years now, 3.5 years. And I'm doing like 430 tests. Most guys at this point are on like a gram of test alone, plus all the other shit. So normally it's like I'd say like 1.8 to 2.5 grams of gear right now. Relatively speaking, it's low for a beginner. Obviously it's still quite a bit, but yeah, that's been the prep stack so far. As you can see, I feel like everything's coming in pretty sharp. And my approach to just anabolics in general is always getting the most out of the least. And I'm lucky because my coach isn't a fucking psycho, and that's his approach too. I never have to worry about taking absurd amounts of gear, and he doesn't even want me doing that either. So when we both have that vision and that alignment, we can really just make the most out of the least, making sure the training's dialed in, diet is dialed in, getting the most out of everything. And then the gear is basically the icing on the cake. Even when I was in my off season, like my peak usage was like 1.2 grams. Relatively speaking, is like a moderate amount. Once you're like over 2 grams, I'd say that's, you know, a pretty high moderate or high, let's say. So I'm always trying to get the most out of the least. And I'm not encouraging you guys to do what I'm doing in terms of the amounts that I'm using, just to give you guys an idea of what it looks like for a bodybuilder 7 weeks out. And I'm men's physique too, so I can take lower doses because I don't have to be as enormous as the classic physique guys or the bodybuilders. If you're gonna do those classes, you're likely gonna have to take quite a bit more. Oh. Oh. Whew. So that's it for this exercise. As you guys know, I'm a fan of redundant movements, so we're gonna move on to an incline Smith press next. Yo guys, if you want an easy way to set up the Smith incline or any type of Smith machine, literally anything, let it sit on the bench and then you can see if roughly these are equal distances apart, and then you know you're centered. It's not an exact measurement, I just use my fingers I go across and visually I could just see that this side there's more. So I just gotta kick this over a little. Boom, the finger measurement on point. And then you just gotta make sure it's lined up properly on your chest. So, okay, so I gotta move the bench back. Obviously when you're moving it, try and keep it centered still. Okay, that's good. Okay, so in this movement, I like the bar coming not right at my collarbone, but just slightly below it. Again, just a very, very mild incline. And I'm always aiming, anytime I'm doing any type of press, usually 8 to 10 reps. If I do like more than 10, I'll bump up the weight. Boop. Oh. Whew. So, on the internet, you see this fucking everywhere now, and it pisses me off that redundant workouts are bad or redundant exercises. I literally just did an incline press, and now I'm essentially doing another one. Do you really think doing 2 or 3 hard sets is enough to actually grow that muscle? Like, does that make sense to you? For me, minimum 6 sets. Anytime I'm trying to grow anything, minimum 6 sets per workout. And then on my split, depending what I need to bring up, I'll do that again a couple days later. I don't get this whole idea that redundancy is bad. You're gonna do one pressing movement, call it a fucking day, and you think you're gonna grow? How does that make any sense? And the worst part is, the people you see preaching this on the internet are all fucking skinny and small. But when I look at people that I wanna look like, they're hammering the volume. They're hammering the sets. Like, they're going fucking apeshit. Who am I gonna listen to? The guys who say these studies say this, that are small and skinny, or these fucking monsters that are huge and training this type of way? I'm gonna listen to these guys over here, the monsters. It's been fucking working. So I'm not saying that science and all these things you don't wanna use as a guideline, and I definitely listen to it and I'm, curious about it. But at the end of the day, you have to try things out for yourself and see what works. And again, in my experience, more volume always works for me. One of the biggest muscle groups that I wanted to bring up this year was my back and my delts. I'm gonna do some delts later on. Delts twice a week, 3 sets at the end of my chest and arm workouts. So I do 3 sets, and then I realized I'm like, damn, like, I don't know if that's enough. So I bumped it up to 4 sets, 5 sets, 6 sets. And now across the week, I'm doing 12 sets of side raises. And one of the first compliments or the first things people notice, they're like, yo, Mark, your fucking delts have blown up. And if you looked at my training, I'm literally doing 6 sets of lateral raises. And if you listen to these science fucking dorks, they'd be telling you that that's redundant and it's not gonna work. But then I have my anecdotal example showing that it fucking works because my delts have actually grown so much in the last year. So take everything you see on the internet with a grain of salt, test it out yourself, see if it works. If it doesn't work, make some changes. But don't think that none of these studies are the be all end all. It's just a fucking guideline. That's it. Try it out, doesn't work, move on. Ooh. Okay, so that was only 7 reps. I'm gonna drop the weight because I want to get more into closer to 10 reps. Oh. Okay, my upper pec is smoked now. 6 sets later, I think that's enough. Okay, so Steph actually reminded me, that's the lady behind the camera here, about the dosages, because most of you guys are probably not familiar with what a half ml a test actually equals. So I forgot to mention, I'm also taking 3 IUs of GH every single day. So a half ml a test is 125 milligrams. I do that every other day. For all these injectables, I'm doing every other day. So 3.5 times per week. So I'm doing 437 tests per week, 175 milligrams Tren A per week, 50 milligrams of Anavar per day, 40 milligrams of Winstrol per day. And then I think it's 350 mast and Nanthate. I think it's mast E every single week. So again, the total dosage per week, probably around 900 milligrams total per week. Nothing crazy. I know you're probably thinking like, yo, that's fucking insane. But once you're more into bodybuilding and you know what people actually take, here we are. We're gonna be doing a standing cable fly. I was kind of debating between doing a decline press or standing cable fly. If you have a good decline press machine, feel free to do that. We're basically just, again, targeting a little bit of the lower pec now. This will do that, a decline press will do that. Fuck, you could even do a flat bench press. I always like throwing in a little, a half rep or two at the end just to make sure I cannot do any more full range of motion reps. Okay, that's a wrap for chest. Now, at the end of every single chest workout, I'm gonna do some side delts. So we're gonna move on right behind here, hit this new standing lateral raise machine. It's one of the best lateral raise machines I've ever tried. Come check it out. All right, guys, we're at the standing lateral raise machine. And something to take note, anytime you're on any type of machine, you can see that the joint is right here. So this is where, obviously, it's gonna swing from. This is the joint, like I just said. Whatever exercise or whatever muscle group you're training, you want your joint to be in alignment with where the machine joint is. So as you can see, my shoulder is way higher. So I gotta move the platform down. And luckily this one goes super far down. We have one on the other side. I'm too tall for it. So now you can see I'm pretty much in alignment here, and that's gonna line up with my delt and hit the muscle better. So anytime you're doing a preacher curl, any type of quad extension, any type of machine, you always wanna make sure whatever joint is lined up with the machine joint. That's how you're gonna get the most out of it. So this machine is fucking dope because it takes all your grip strength away. A lot of people are, you see them using the cuff because they don't wanna put pressure in their forearms. Well, this machine solves that issue because you wedge your hand in between and then you don't gotta grip it as hard. So that was about 14 good reps. So I'm just gonna bump up the weight to touch. I'm gonna try and aim for 10 to 12. The other sick thing about this machine versus dumbbells, almost a lot of different lateral raise machines, there's tension right from the bottom. So when my delt is the most stretch, it's not, the tension doesn't start over here. It's literally from here. As soon as I move it an inch, there's already tension. That's why I love this machine so much. If you don't have this, you could do some sort of cable lateral raise too, and you'll get pretty much the exact same thing out of it. So another thing I do anytime I'm doing any type of lateral raise, I'm not standing in here and going straight to the side. I'm actually sitting back, obviously behind, letting my hands come out in front of me. And then I lean over. And then I try and throw, you know how you're doing a dumbbell and you throw it away from you? I'm basically mimicking that exact same movement, whether I'm doing a dumbbell, a machine lateral, a standing machine lateral, or a cable lateral raise. So a slight lean over, and then throw these away from you. shit. So that was a little bit too heavy. I'm actually gonna go a little bit lighter. Cool. So the reason you want to lean forward is basically if you're standing upright and going like this, you can see the side delt, which is right here, is what we're trying to chain. I'm standing like this. Now it's pointing behind me. I want it pointing up straight at the roof. So you'll notice, and you've probably heard this, when you have a dumbbell, lead with your pinkies. The reason why you do that is so your side delt is facing right up against the roof. So instead of going with your pinkies, like how would you do that on this machine? All you need to do, so imagine my pinkies. Now all I do is lean forward and I get the exact same thing out of it, but this feels way more awkward than just keeping my palms neutral, leaning forward and doing the exact same thing. So moving on from the standing to a seated lateral raise. You could do these standing. I just feel it's more stable doing it seated, and I can stay, again, just bent over a little bit easier. Cool. Okay, that's a wrap for this workout. So chest, side delts done. I'm gonna take a rest day tomorrow, legs, and then arms and delts again. So that's basically the volume I'm gonna be doing on my side delts. And then I'm gonna be training chest again every 6 days. So that's a split. The shreds are definitely coming, guys. So wrap for today's video. Make sure, again, to like, subscribe, comment down below. Weekly videos coming. We're gonna be shooting a leg or an arm day next. So make sure you don't miss that fucking video. I'll see you guys in the next one.